At the Clifton Forge Town Council meeting recently, the Journal heard something interesting, something we probably should have known about all along. But happily, we're at the fifth anniversary of town manager Chuck Unroe taking the job. And so we chuckled a little bit, no pun intended, that it's been almost a historic hire here. Uh, a fellow that heretofore hadn't managed a town or a city, but appears to have done so well. So we welcome Chuck Unroe here to tell the public a little bit about the last 4 or 5 years. Welcome, Chuck.
Welcome, Jerry. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for the support that you've shown the town through the years. And you're right, I took this job in November. Actually, my first day on the job was November 20th, 2021.
And so
I'm sorry.
And you decided, I'm going to take on this new job during COVID.
COVID was running strong. It was the very beginning of the worst part of the pandemic. I received a call that at the time Clifton Forge town manager had resigned and had asked council to waive the 30-day requirement of notice for her resignation. She wanted to leave pretty quickly. The job was offered to me, and I came in the next couple of days and started working as the Clifton Forge town manager.
Chuck, to me, your hiring or somebody like you has been obvious all along. It always should have been somebody that knew everybody, knew how to get along with folks, maybe didn't know all the people in Richmond, all the professors and things like this that an ideal supposed city manager, town manager would, but you knew the people, had formed all these relationships, and it's worked out pretty darn well, hasn't it?
I was very fortunate. We've been very fortunate in the town with me that I've been able to surround myself and bring people into this town that did know those paths and they did know those avenues to take. And I've actually gotten very fortunate in surrounding myself with some very knowledgeable people to help guide me. And as I have progressed through the years, I have learned those contacts and those inroads that I didn't have when I first came.
And you know what I've also noticed, at a town council meeting or at an event, that kind of thing, we're all somewhat skeptical about any new leader. And yet, in the coverage that we do, we're out and about and we see people stepping up and trying to cooperate. And it's almost like there's a renewed spirit of let's get this thing done. Let's work together to make things happen. And I see them interacting with you, which, it just looks very positive.
If you remember, one of the first things I said when I took this job is I anticipated that this would be a very short-lived position. And my goal was to try to heal some of the division in the town. You remember those conversations that we had back in the beginning? And now I sit here and I look at all the positive things that are going on. I see, there's 5 or 6 new businesses that have opened in the last couple of months. We have major projects on the horizon. We have a track record that probably no other municipality, especially in the Alleghany Highlands, can compete with as far as our budgetary success. So it has evolved into the proverbial, you push that small snowball off the top of the hill, and the further it rolls, the bigger it gets. Well, this is where we are. We're moving. We're pushing that ball to the point where I think we're going to reach the point of the town is just on a positive roll forward, and it's really reinventing itself.
Well, at the risk, this interview may have to go on a little bit longer than normal, but I was hoping that we could talk about a few of the projects that just seem to, as you've mentioned, I don't know if the term would be snowballed or not, but even the fact that, you worked with VDOT and, they couldn't do West Ridgeway Street this year, but it got done. and then major water line projects. All these things have formed this I don't know. It's a sense of almost renewal that you've just got a list of them that seem very and plus people are seeing paving that they hadn't seen before, and they're the police department's well respected. Maria is a new great hire, so I mean I see that smile in your face, and I think it's really justified.
And Maria is one of my great successes, I believe.
Well, let's talk about. Come on, I know you've got a list probably somewhere. Um, let's talk about some of the things that you think from 2020 till now. I mean, what would you how would you rate them or it's I guess you don't have to say what are the top five or something like that, but what do you believe is most significant other than these great relationships and businesses coming into town? What do you think are the highlights?
Well, just a little bit of a history. You didn't ask for this, but I feel like I need to say it. I inherited a problem. I inherited a shared public works director with Alleghany County. At the end of the day, that relationship was not working for either locality. Was not working for the town of Clifton Forge. Our public works department was very disgruntled with the leadership that they had. Come to find out, Alleghany County was not happy with that agreement whatsoever. So very quickly into me being here, we made the change from shared director of public works with Alleghany County to bringing that back in-house and appointed a public works director. And we modified that role as we've gone. Now, in the beginning, there were public works employees not happy, wanting to quit every day. Now all I hear is them laughing and doing their job and working and really not having any issues with that. So I feel like that was a major accomplishment. I also inherited an unfinished project that that was the river crossing of the water line from Verge Street back over, or from town and over to Verge Street. If you remember, for three winters, there was a water line that lay right across the A Street Bridge. So I stepped into that project that had a signed contract with an engineering firm, but nothing had been done about funding for that project. Nothing had been done about permitting for that project. Nothing had been done for a contractor for that project. So right off the bat, I was under the gun to get that done. Health department wanted the water line off the bridge. The railroad wanted the water line off the bridge. So we were able to get that ball rolling. And within the first year of me being here, we got that project started and completed. And while we were in the middle of that, we had a major sinkhole develop on Route 60 out by the BB&T Bank building that we had to deal with there. That was my first experience with ever dealing with anything like that. And that was a learning experience. But we accomplished all of that pretty quickly within the first year or so of me being here. And then we've just moved along to other projects. So.
Well, that new water line that's going to be coming down into town, that is going to be huge. It's something most people don't think about, but they'll think about it if they didn't have water. So it's
well, we were very fortunate that we had money allocated to us for American Rescue Plan money and Virginia Department of Health ARPA money. They had to be used for infrastructure. One of the projects that was identified was the water supply line from the water treatment facility that delivers water not only to Clifton Forge, but eastern Alleghany County. Been in the ground for over 50 years, 50 plus years, closer to 75 years. Multiple known leaks in it. Some of those leaks were in places where they were inaccessible to be fixed. We didn't have the equipment to fix them. We identified that as a need, brought in engineers, put it out for bid. We're in the final stages of completing the replacement of around 2 miles of water trunk line from the treatment plant into town. The projected completion date for that right now is shortly after the first of the year. That will do two things. That will ensure a definite and positive supply of water, but it will also cut down on lost water revenue because we won't have the leaks that we've had in that line. While we were working on that project, we identified another water line need, and that is the water line going out West Ridgeway Street that serves the county from everything from Scott Hill in Clifton Forge all the way to the high school in Valley Ridge. And that water line was in very poor condition. So again, using Virginia Department of Health money, we were able to replace all of that line going to the county and wrap in everything from 6th Street up to Scott Hill on a new water line, new fire hydrants, and everything. That project is finished.
Chuck, I'm not sure that, and maybe the journal didn't do its job, but people would see West Ridgeway Street torn up, all this, up and down the street, down the side streets, and I'm sure, it wasn't completely clear, despite the fact that you mentioned it in many town council meetings. But that project was very involved. You had all kinds of paving and had to come up and had to go up Scott Hill. And that is going to be, for the future, is going to be huge for the areas you just described.
And what we're doing now, we're going to reap the benefit of it, but we're putting things in place now that's going to affect the next 2 or 3 generations in a positive manner. The things that we're doing on infrastructure repairs, they're not probably going to have to revisit these for a long time. The pipe that we're using to come from the treatment plant into town is seamless pipe. It's fused together pipe. There are no mechanical junctions in that pipe except at stream crossings for it to leak. So there is no, it takes the maintenance factor out of that water line. You talked about Ridgeway Street being torn up. One of the things that I have heard consistently since I've been here is Ridgeway Street needed to be repaved. And that was on VDOT's agenda, state of good repair money, but because of the pandemic, it got kicked back a year or two. And then when we revisited it, they approved the project again to be done, but because of the inflation of materials for the project and construction costs, they hadn't allocated enough money to cover those costs. And I have to give VDOT, Jamison Strouser, and Susan Hammond credit for they back to us, allowing us to re-up for that project on an annual basis. And they finally got the allotted amount of money up to where we needed it to be to get the paving done. Paving was done this summer. It's an amazing job. And we paved everything from Roxbury Street all the way to the town limits. And that project cost the town $0 out of pocket.
I hope you have forgiven us for our 50 questions of when that project was going to be done. Okay, it could have been 55, but this is an impressive list of projects, no question about it. In terms of the size of this town versus any other town in probably the state in terms of infrastructure, these critical things that are boring to most people, but are so important for even current conditions, but in the future. I mean, this is really almost amazing. But now here comes the $64,000.
Well, there's one more, Jerry. There's one more
all right.
I hadn't talked about. We're working through the paperwork. We were successful in a congressionally directed earmark spending allotment in the 2024-2025 fiscal year for $1.8 million for sewer wastewater upgrades. That money has been awarded to the town. It's set aside, budgeted in the federal budget for the town. We know that the money's there. We're working through the necessary paperwork and applications processes to show what we want to do with that money. And hopefully by next spring, we will be rebuilding all 3 of our pump stations in town to upgrade our wastewater treatment system also.
And that is something that, I mean, it's tough to secure money for that. And it's most of that's grant money, like you said. Wow.
In Clifton Forge, and from what I'm being told from Senator Warner's office, that's the first time that anybody in the Allegheny Highlands has applied for and received congressional directed money.
Well, that's good to hear. Okay, now's the $64,000 question. Things are looking up. Are there things that are going to happen in the future, either downtown or otherwise, that you think are bright lights? I mean, there's plenty of accomplishment to be happy about. How about the future? Are there things that you're looking forward to seeing happen, even in the next year or so, that we haven't heard that much about?
Well, there's so many things that we're excited about, to be honest with you. We are working really diligently with developers for the Jefferson School project. They're in their due diligence period. Maria is working every day to receive grant funding to offset the cost of that project. We anticipate having some definitive answers and potentially some work and movement on that by this time next year. It takes a while for grant money and things to filter through and permitting. That will do two things. That will add 27 housing units to town, but it will also provide a new, modern, state-of-the-art, up-to-date, permanent housing area for the Clifton Forge Food Pantry. We're really excited about that. We're working in the 600 block of Main Street right now. The contractors are working over there today as we speak, stabilizing and putting a new roof on the 608 Main Street building. And hopefully right after the first of the year, we'll move a new business in town, upgrade to that building. They want to expand their business and workspace and move in there. We are working with the new owner of the 600 Main Street building on design plans for his property. We have some other exciting news that we want to roll out on that corner potentially in the spring that we haven't talked too much about. We're in the process of negotiations and purchase agreements with CSX for the old yard office building to develop that into a boutique type hotel for Clifton Forge, and hopefully be able to provide a nice lounge area for the Amtrak station to be included in that building. So all of those things are very close on the horizon that we're working forward. Maria is constantly looking for new avenues for funding, new avenues for community planning and community development. So it's an ever-evolving list of projects and things going on.
This is it's very positive. It's really cool, and we congratulate you on your 5th anniversary. Hope there's another 5 or 10.
Well, there might be a couple, but that'll remain up to council. But I do want to say one other thing, Jerry. Everything we've talked about, all of the things that we've done, we have not raised 1 penny of taxes on any front in Clifton Forge on the last 5 years.
Yeah.
We've not raised personal property tax other than the real estate reassessment that was done countywide. We actually reduced our assessed value considerably to stay within that 1% margin on the increased tax revenue on the new tax assessment. So across the board, we have levied no increased taxes whatsoever and accomplished all of these things we've talked about.
Well, we appreciate the openness too of town council and the fact that you guys allow everybody to come in and say what they want every single meeting. And we just wanted to shine a little bit of light on the past 5 years. And, we thought, well, it's kind of tough to catch Chuck. He's busy, man. I may see him going down the street, but to get him to sit in one place and talk to him, that's another thing. But we certainly appreciate you taking the time to update us and the public. And well, if you don't have another 10 years in you, maybe we can at least, get a portion anyway. Before you go off to retirement land, you're not allowed to retire. So,
Not yet. There's a few things I'd like to see finished before that happens. And, I do want to say that I want to thank the council members in 2020 who had the vision to offer this job to me and believe in me to do this job. I want to thank the support of the councils that we've had since then to keep me in this position. And I really want to thank the citizens of Clifton Forge for allowing me to do this for them and work for them. And it's been a good 5 years for me. I've enjoyed it. There's been its ups and downs, and you're right. We let people come into council meetings as we should and let them speak their pieces. Sometimes what they say hurts, but sometimes you need to hear the reality of what's going on too and how people feel about it. And that helps you form what you do the next day to better serve the citizens.
well, thanks again. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Jerry. Have a good day.